Welcome, everyone, to episode 102 of Missing Pieces. This episode takes place at 6:18 a.m. on Saturday morning, which explains why everything is so dark and so moody and I look so hideous. I would say it's because I just got up, but that's only partially true. I've actually been up for about an hour and a half now because my body just knows it's 5 o'clock and it's ready to go. If you've been following along with this series, or if you've just been on my channel at any point in the last couple weeks, you've probably seen that I'm doing this series called 5 a.m. Lego, which is a morning live stream where I fall out of bed, literally in some cases, and I come down to the studio, flip some things, and I do a show. And it's been one of my favorite things that I've done recently. I'm so super passionate about it. I will admit it kind of takes some of the zest away from Missing Pieces, because in the past it was like a week before we got together and I had like all this stuff and I'm like, oh, I got hundreds of things to talk about that I have to somehow narrow down into like an hour-long show or less in some cases. But now it's like I'm talking for hours each morning to a live audience, and this feedback's happening, and it just like fills my heart with joy. I love it. And I've been getting messages from people that love it too. Like, you sometimes forget that there's a lot of people that are just watching. Some would say lurking, because they're doing other things and stuff like that. And it's not just the people in the chat. It's not just the 60 people that are there watching at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's people in their lives. And I got a message last night from a lady, and maybe she's listening to this. She said she loves 5 a.m. Lego because she gets up with her baby at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it gives her something to kind of like listen to and be a part of until the rest of her household gets up at like 6 o'clock and chaos ensues. So it's like a nice little peaceful place, not only for me, but for other people out there. And it's awesome. But you know, that doesn't mean that Missing Pieces is going to end by any means, because this is a whole different format. This is a somewhat pre-scripted thing. I have an outline, if you want to call it that, of just some things that I like to talk about. And this goes obviously out as a podcast, so it's more contained, it's more organized, and I guess that's pretty much the only difference, other than that I'm just here alone with you. It's just me and you right now. But that's going well. I plan to continue doing that until I'm just not having fun with it anymore. And I don't know when that's going to be. It could be 2 days from now. It could be 2 weeks from now, 2 years from now. But for the most part, people have been very encouraging of it. And for that reason, I'm going to keep going. Let's talk about this week, though. We'll transition from the thing that I've been doing every day to the things that I've been doing every day. And I guess the first thing, and maybe you've noticed, this actually kind of works because I have my glasses on right now. And these were the glasses that I picked up this week. My new ones, they're a little big, but I kind of like that. I have this thing in my life that I thought I would talk about right now. And I don't know if there's anyone else out there that's like this, but I'm always searching for the best in my life. Oftentimes it'll be something simple, like I'm trying to find the best t-shirts. And in my experience, the best t-shirts thus far have come from the company named Life is Good. No sponsorship here, but I love the quality, the materials. They're a little more expensive than what you'd find, you know, like Walmart or whatever. I don't know where you shop at. But for me, like, I'm willing to spend a little bit extra to get the best in life, because I'm like a buy it for life type guy. In fact, there's a subreddit dedicated to that, where people show things that they bought like 30 years ago and they're still using today, like a Boots or a blender. What else starts with a B? Too early for that, guys. Welcome to 5 a.m. 6 o'clock today. So I had a pair of glasses. I don't typically wear glasses, as you probably know, but I do wear contacts. But in the morning and evenings before bed, or when I get up, like today, like the rest of the family, they're all still asleep. So that's why I'm sneaking down here. Seems like the perfect time to make a show. If only I did this every day. And my glasses, I wasn't quite happy with. I didn't like the way that they fall behind your ears and you kind of put pressure there. And they just didn't feel great. And I was like, what if I could get a pair of glasses that were more like sunglasses, the way that they fit, and they're kind of like rubberized and just like next level. And I started doing some research, and I found that Oakley actually makes prescription eyeglasses. And I watched a video where they were demoing each of the glasses that were coming out this year, and some of them are very tactical looking, like you look like a sniper or sharpshooter, but some of them look more casual, like something you would wear like in a normal circumstance, like not playing sports. And these are called the Activate that I'm wearing right now, and I really do love them. They are rubberized. They have a straight back on them, so they don't tuck behind your ears, and they're very flexible. This reminds me of a moment from 7th grade, my buddy was showing me his new glasses, and he was telling me about how flexible they were and how like amazing they were. And he flexed those things and completely snapped them. I remember it being pretty funny, but now as an adult, I feel so terrible because I can imagine him going home to his dad, who he had a bit of a temper. He was a scary dude. Imagine going home and showing your parents your broken glasses. You definitely don't want to tell them the actual story of what happened. You want to tell them that, you know, the bully beat you up, threw you in the trash can and stepped on him or something, because yeah, he was flexing a little too hard. And that was the days before flexing was even a word. So it just it took me back 25 years right there in that one moment. And now I'm facing this massive crushing depression, knowing that I have memories from 25 years ago when I was in middle school. The pain, the agony. But we don't say old around here. We say vintage. But anyways, I got these glasses and I'm really loving them. They have this rubberized nose piece. These things never slide on your face. They fit great on me. Oakley, if you're listening, I'd love a sponsorship. They were a little expensive. At least, all glasses are expensive, all things like that. But I was willing to pay it, and was happy with the service. I had to drive to the next town over to get it. But it was a beautiful drive. In fact, I filmed that day. I filmed myself getting these because I like to document my life. It's this little thing I'm thinking about doing where I like share things in my life that I'm interested in, the people, pets, animals, places in it. And I'm thinking about creating this thing called Greg's World, where it's this video time capsule of my life that I can then look back on someday. I don't know if it'll take off or not. I don't know if it'll be a hit, but it's definitely something I've been considering lately in addition to this Lego channel. I'm kidding. It's all right. I do that, guys. I try to not do any kind of jokes like that because I think my delivery doesn't signify that it's a joke. And there's a lot of impressionable kids that watch and they're like, you know, they'll come out of the woodwork. And I don't want your comment on this episode to be, Greg, what are you talking about? You have a vlog. No, save your comment for something special that you'd like to share. Maybe a win of the week. We've got a lot of those this week, which I'll get to. But this week, overall, this week was a big L, as the young folk are saying. Monday, Clark Man got sick, or he's kind of sick over the weekend, like a cold type thing. And we decided Monday we'd keep him home. And he was like feeling okay. He seemed to be all right for the most part. He was just sniffling and stuff. He had the runny nose. And I was like, do you just want to chill today? You want to make the most of today? And of course he did. So we filmed a pretty cool vlog that day. We actually got back out and ran some RCs, almost lost a plane in a tree, flying my RC plane. My advice to you is don't just fly a plane because it's beautiful and sunny outside. Check the winds. Make sure the winds aren't crazy when you're flying a piece of styrofoam around in the sky, because bad things tend to happen. Unless you live out in the middle of the plains where there's nothing around and you could go running for it. But if you live where there's trees, there's winds, don't take your little styrofoam RC plane out and fly it. Pro tip from Greg on 6 a.m. missing pieces, which could be the title to this, eh? We got a new segment, Greg's crazy thoughts in the morning, which is what I've been doing every day. But so Monday, he stayed home, had fun. We were doing all right. Tuesday, runny nose on the Clark Man. But I'm like, dude, you can't miss too much school. Like this is me thinking like you don't want to miss school because there's so many valuable things to learn and it's so important. Silly Greg. Tricks are for kids. He went to school on Tuesday and he comes home and he's just like super low energy. And the teacher said like she could notice like he wasn't feeling it. So Wednesday comes around and he's still sniffling and stuff. And I'm like, well, is it enough of a reason to sit around all day here at the house? Or is it better to go to school where he can at least be, he can learn, he can be a part of things. And I packed him with some extra tissues. I sent him out. And that was my mistake of the day because at 11:45 Wednesday, I get a call from the school nurse. And they said, well, because Clark is sniffling and he coughed, their policy states because of COVID that he must be sent home. And the lady, I kind of felt bad for her because I think she must get reamed by parents quite a bit. Because obviously most parents aren't like me where I'm sitting here, twiddling my thumbs and staring at the YouTube analytics, seeing how many people have unsubscribed because of dumb things I said in 5 a.m. Lego. That's not actually true. I'm trying to be funny, unsuccessfully. But I get a call from her, and she's very tepid, I think is the word, timid. She's dancing around a little bit. And she's like, I'm really sorry about this, but this is the policy, and this is going on. I took his temperature, and it's not high, but his nose is running. And I'm like, no problem, no problem at all. I'll come get him here in about 15 minutes. Be there in 15 minutes. And again, when I got there, I don't know, dude, I had a really bad vibe when I got to the school that day. You have to walk up and like press a button to like ring in to let them know you're there. And I rang the button, and this like never happens to me or happened to me. I rang the button, and the lady, like secretary, comes over to the window, and she gave me one of those like up down looks. Like she kind of like, they give you like the glance, like staring you up and down, like you're some type of like scrub or loser. You have no right to be there. And I'm just like, what? Like, I don't know if it was because of how I was dressed. I had a black version of this hoodie on, which I should mention this is the best hoodie you can buy, at least in my experience. Is Under Armour, soft as silk. Order a size up and just float around in that baby. I have it in black and I have it in gray. I wear them like all the time. Love them. I'm thinking about buying like 20 more. I do that sometimes. Back on the topic, I know we're going off on a tangent here. I'll sometimes buy multiple things. I found the perfect pair of flip-flops. I bought 2 of those. I found the perfect shoes. I bought 2 of those. I bought an extra pair of shoes to not mess up my perfect shoes. I have like, all these things are very important to me. It could be some type of, I do it with cameras, audio. I do it with like all these things that I really enjoy in life. Could be some type of level of obsessive compulsive, but it doesn't negatively affect my life. So I don't consider it to be a problem. But back to the actual topic, she gave me like the look up and down. I was wearing a black hoodie. I had camo shorts on and, sneakers. I would assume that I look like any other parent came up. I don't know if she gave me that look because I was bothering her, but you could definitely tell like she critically judged me. And then when she came over, I was just like, I'm here to pick up my son. I gave him his name. And then she just walked away, and I was like, thanks. I like yelled it at her because she just like if you're a secretary, and this goes to anybody, we've talked about the Dollar General guy before. If you're in a place where you're dealing with public, even if you're having like a miserable day, if you're a miserable person with a miserable life and you hate yourself and everything about your entire existence, put a smile on your face and at least fake it, because sometimes you fake it and you make it. And you could actually have a good experience if you just put that out there. This isn't Greg's life advice. It's just things that have worked for me in the past and I think could work for other people if they were to actually take my advice. But so I was just like, thanks. Gave her like one of the old passive aggressive thanks. And then Clark Mann comes out, and the nurse again comes out with him. Super nice. She's just like, you could tell she's kind of like terrified. Because the next part of the story is for Clark to return to school because of the new policies they have enforced. He has to have a negative COVID test or a doctor's note after seeing him that he doesn't have COVID or there's some other underlying issue and he is safe to return to school. And I totally get it. Like I guarantee you, especially based on where we live, we're in a pretty rural area. I won't say too much more outside of that, but I imagine if with many parents, maybe less accepting parents like myself, if you walked up there, say you just had to leave work, first of all, like you're doing your job and then you have to leave and your boss is just jacked because you have to go pick your kid up. Because, a lot of employers, they don't care about you personally. You're there because they have goals that need to be accomplished and you're a tool for completing their goals. I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's like literally not like a tool in an insulting way, but you are an asset to them. And if you leave, you no longer are an asset. So your boss is mad. You're already upset. You get there. You got to pick your kid up. You had to take a half day. You had to use your personal time. Maybe you're not getting paid now. And then the nurse basically says like your kid needs a negative COVID test, or he needs to see a doctor in order to return with like a note from the doctor. And I imagine she's probably gotten lit up more than once, I reckon, because you imagine how many kids get sick there. This is the second time Clark's gotten a cold in the 2 months that we've been there, 6 weeks we've been there. So there's probably just endless times of this happening. But I was just, I was like, okay, cool. I understand that, you're doing your job, right? Like, why would I be mad at you? She comes out in like riot suit or something, but you are just the messenger. And that's totally fine. If there's a kid coughing and hacking all over the place, I don't necessarily want him around my kid, right? Especially if he has COVID or whatever. So I made an appointment for the very next morning to take Clark, man. I thought I just saw something in the window. It scared me a little bit. Probably ghosts. Probably the studio's haunted. Welcome to Haunted Missing Pieces. I made an appointment for the next morning at 8:45 to take him in, and took him in. Doctor gave him the look over, and it turns out he has a sinus infection. So no big deal. Got him some antibiotics, and Clark, man, was just a trooper. Funny story from when we picked up his antibiotics. We're at the store, we're waiting for him to get filled, and he's standing there. We have masks on, and the lady they're super sweet at the grocery store where we get our prescriptions. And she was like, I hope you feel better, sweetie. And he's like, my mask is flooding with snot. And I kind of chuckled a little bit, but she laughed too. And it was just like one of those little funny moments. But he was like super patient. Clark is just such a darn good kid. I know I'm biased on it, but man, he's something special, I think. And we went home. We did like the sick care package at the grocery store. You know what I mean? Like it's like you got your chicken noodle soup, you got your orange juice, a little bit of Sprite in case your stomach gets upset. You know, we got some bread for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, all the things that you would need like when you're all sicked up. But Clark, man, that wasn't stopping him. There was a small cut right here because right now I am having a struggle with my entire week here. The timeline is just completely messed up in my mind because I didn't film much this week, and I use my filming and my clips and all the stuff that I record as like my journal basically. And because Clark was sick this week for the most part, I really didn't film anything later in the week. So like Monday, Clark went to school, and that's the day he was low energy, if I remember right. That's the day I got my glasses. Tuesday was the day he stayed home sick. I think it's coming to me now. Wednesday, we sent him in the morning, but he got sent home. Thursday was the day we went to the doctor. It's all coming back to me. So I want to continue on with Thursday here, now that we have the timeline straight. This is why I have to record every day. In fact, I have some regrets that I didn't film this week because there was so many it was awesome being home with him, even though he was sick and he slept a lot in the afternoons. It was great being home with him because it was like the old days. He did sleep a lot in the afternoons, and I was able to get a lot of organization done down here in the studio, and it felt so good. Like it's getting there. I really love the way that things are turning out right now. I'll be working on some things this weekend that because of time travel will have already happened when you're listening to this or watching this. But like all of this week, like kind of just like a sick week, it was a write-off for content creation for the most part. I did make some Lego videos, of course, and I shot the vlogs during this week, but Greg's World kind of got shut down because it's no fun to film when you're all snotting around and stuff and just not feeling yourself. But on Thursday, Clarkman was, after we got done with the whole doctor thing and that was all wrapped, we came home and Clark, I was like, dude, do you want to lay down for a bit? Because he was looking pretty wiped that whole day. But he was like, no, I want to do at stud.io or studio, because we talked about this. I had this idea to do this series on my channel called Building Your Ideas. I already do it in the world of Minecraft creative mode with Clarkman. When he's playing, I ask the chat while we're streaming it for like ideas, or I have some of my own, and then I try to build those things. And I've been wanting to learn like Lego Digital Designer or Studio, which I think I've learned that it's called, for quite some time. And I promised Clark that I would teach it to him or we could learn it together. And he really wanted to do that day, even in his condition. So I was like, okay, let's just go down and do it, right? Like we're home, we're sick, we can't really do anything, can't go anywhere. Let's just go fire it up and see how it goes. So we fired up a stream, and in that stream, which is still up on our channel if you'd like to watch it, speaking of that, all of the 5 a.m. Lego episodes, they're all unlisted, but they're in a playlist on my channel. So if you scroll down and you want to watch all of the previous 5 a.m. Lego episodes that are unlisted, they're all sitting there. I noticed that no one actually does that, which is kind of sad because I sometimes think these shows are pretty fun and awesome. And after like a day goes by of it sitting there, I don't want them all over my channel, so I put them unlisted. But nobody goes, and you don't go out of your way to find unlisted videos, what I'm saying. But if you want to, you can. But back to the studio or stud.io. I want to call it stud.io, but it's studio. We fired up a live stream, and I sat there live and learned how to operate this, which isn't too difficult. And Clark sat there with me and did it as well. I built a model, which was a little house, my first thing that I made, and I really enjoyed it. Clark made a little house, of course. And then I made my first vehicle, which was like a rig. It was like maybe like a 1980s, 90s Lego-inspired rig. Clark made a tank. And in this stream, which lasted about 2 hours, Clark and I fell in love with this digital designing process. It is so much fun and enjoyable. I mean, it's a little difficult with the camera controls. It's the one thing that I would criticize or critique the program for. And again, it's called Studio by Bricklink. I haven't done any of the stuff where apparently if you design something and it's all the right colors and stuff, you can actually like order those parts through Bricklink. It'll tell you what you need. I haven't gone that far yet, so I might need some help on that from people. But man, I had so much fun with it. In fact, Clark yesterday, he got back on. We weren't streaming this, but he was building yesterday, and he loves it. And it really made me think that there might be a future for Clark, man, as an engineer. Because the kid loves math. He loves design. He loves doing digital design work like that. And at 6 years old, he's already on there grinding and putting this stuff in. And like Minecraft is all like kind of architecture. I think there could be a possibility for him. Maybe his future isn't to become a Minecraft streamer. Maybe it's something, I wouldn't say something bigger than that, because being a Minecraft streamer can be big. There's many people that probably make more money than what a professional architect would make or an engineer streaming Minecraft. But I don't know. I see potential there, and it's important for me to nurture that. But we had a lot of fun with it. I do want to test out Lego Digital Designer to see how it is. But we're going to make this a series. Clark said he wants to be a part of it, of course. We kind of take turns going back and forth. But doing a live stream where it's like building your ideas in Lego Digital Designer Studio, I think would be just such a fun thing to do. It gets people involved. You get to watch it. It's a great opportunity just to kind of chat, because you're not like, there's no pressure there. You know, you're dropping pieces in and stuff like that. It's not like you're playing a high stakes battle royale game where you literally can't look at the chat. Like, it can be like a thing where it's like a fun little place to hang out. And as you can tell from maybe the last several weeks of me discussing things, the world of live streaming is just something that I just feel called to. I love it so much. I mentioned, this will come up here in the comments section or the feedback section, about kind of like talking to yourself during the day. I'll just go to that right now here, because we're about to get into listener feedback. Let's see where that comment was, if I can find it here. Lots of wins of the week this week, which is pretty cool. It's from Lego Dude 11. He says, "Hey Greg, this is more of a random question, but in the episode I heard you say you talk to yourself a lot during the day. I do that a lot, and I wondered if it was an only child thing or not. Did you ever talk to yourself as a child or have imaginary friends? I'm an only child too and feel the same way about a lot of things. I don't know if it's the same for you or not." Yeah, being a lonely child is kind of a lonely experience. As an introvert, it's not so damaging. And I remember having friends over a lot that would spend the nights and stuff, sometimes for like the whole weekend. But I remember like he'd come over like Friday night, my best buddy, and he would leave like Sunday night. And I remember by like Sunday night wanting to be alone again, because it was like too much. So I like that balance. It's nice having like a best buddy that comes over, because it's not like you're stuck all the time. It can be like just in short stints. But yeah, I don't necessarily speak out loud to myself. At least I don't think I do. It's more of a joke than anything. But I do have like this internal monologue that's always going on. And a lot of times it's a lot of repetition in my brain. Again, kind of going back to maybe some OCD tendencies, which I don't know enough about to really, diagnose myself or anything like that. But I'll have these things that just run in my mind over and over, which is why Missing Pieces is so good for me. This allows me to take those things that are in my mind oftentimes and just get them out. If I get them out, then they're not in there anymore. And it opens up space for new things that I don't have to constantly be doing. I know I get in trouble with Mrs. Brickitect a lot, because I'll repeat myself a lot about things, and I'll forget that I told her, because in my mind it's just like always happening. And I'm like, hey, let me tell you about my idea for doing this stud.io live streaming series. And she's like, you already told me about it twice. And I'm like, oh, it's running through my mind. So I do have that. I don't know if that's good or bad. My mind is always going. And that's why I love going on YouTube, and I love the internet just in general, because I can find all these things that I'm interested in, things I want to research, things I want to find out more about. There's no end to the amount of knowledge that I want to soak in. The only thing that limits me is my imagination. And I think about that in a lot of aspects of my life. The only thing that's limiting me right now is how big I can dream and the things that I want to do. Obviously, money too. I'd be like, hey, I want to go to space with Jeff Bezos, and I'm going to throw him out into space. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't. Or would I? So there's your creepy moment of Missing Pieces. But yeah, I don't know. Does anyone out there, let's talk about our mental illnesses or whatever the heck it is. Does anybody have like this internal monologue that just repeats endlessly on these few little things? A lot of times it's just like, I don't even, I guess it's almost like mantras and things like that. Like, I don't know. I can't explain it. Give me some time to sit on this. If anybody comments about this and wants to discuss it further, we certainly can next week. If you feel vulnerable enough to put yourself out there, or if you feel like comfortable with that, I'll think more about this on this week, and we can come back and talk about maybe some mental health type things like that if you want to. In the podcasts that we don't talk about Lego. In fact, I don't even think I did my intro today. Do we really need to anymore? But that was pretty much my week. Friday was just a chill day as well. We did a 4-hour live stream yesterday morning. 5 a.m. Lego, almost went to 9 a.m. I was going to end it at like 7, but Clark Band came down and like the vibe kind of just shifted, and I was having fun. The chat was great. I was doing like members only chat because it just got kind of wild. And I'm considering doing that going forward too, just because it eliminates a lot of stuff from the chat, and it makes it more of a personal experience for me. And I think a more pleasant one for the people that are actually in the chat without saying too much in that regard. So, but Friday was fantastic. Had so much fun. Lots of support there. Clark Band was having fun. He even got on, did a little stud.io build or studio build that morning too. I made an Optimus Prime, and he made, what the heck did he make? Oh, he made a creeper bus. You can do anything. It's free too, I should say. I've been trying to hype this with all of my peeps. Studio is free to use. So if you're just dinking around on your computer right now or watching this, you can go over and you can download it for free and start messing around, maybe even while you're listening to this, because we have a little bit left to go here. We've got some listener feedback, and you guys know that I love goals, and I love it when people are working towards something, and I'm always trying to push you, just like I push myself, to have goals and to not just exist, as was the comment in last week's episode. So we're going to jump into Emil, who actually just became a member on the channel. He has a message here and a comment that I thought was really nice and maybe could help someone out there. Just listen to this and you can judge. He says, "Hi, Greg. A little late, but congratulations on 100, now 101 Missing Pieces episodes. The last 2 podcasts had me reflecting on my goals, wins, and more, and I haven't taken stock of where I want to go in the next 2 years. Work-wise, I've been working as a freelance web designer and digital marketer since 2007. Over these last 14 years, through hard work, I'm blessed to still be working and be successful at it while having endured many storms over the years. Looking forward now, my focus can now shift to my other longtime passion, which has always been filmmaking. I've wanted to be a director ever since I could remember, and in 2008, I followed the quote from well-known director James Cameron. He said, "Pick up a camera, shoot something. No matter how small, no matter how cheesy, no matter whether your friends or your sister stars in it, put your name on it as director. Now you're a director." I kind of like that quote. I'm a director. I should put directed by at the end of my YouTube videos. He says, "I took this to heart and made a near unwatchable first short film. However, in the 8 years that followed, I made 6 more short films. Making each short film, I learned and grew. I'm no Christopher Nolan, though. Extenuating circumstances made me quit my passion a year later, and I ended up not posting any of those short films onto the internet. And as life happened, that passion dwindled. However, earlier this year, I decided I didn't want to just exist." Ooh, where'd you learn that from? Where'd that come up last week? I wanted to do more in life, and I made another short film that I actually released. There wasn't any fanfare, and it didn't go viral by any means, but I made something that exists in the world. My passion was reignited. Now my focus is going back to my previous work to see what I would like to release while making fresh content as well. Beyond that, I started live streaming and I started making YouTube videos as well. I've always had a debilitating fear of being on camera, and although I'm still nervous, I'm getting over that fear more and more each day. My goal is to make as much content as I can and to never let a single moment pass me by anymore. The support from my wife and from your wise words in this podcast have been a great inspiration to help me get my butt into gear and to be more and not to just exist. Finally, my win of the week was getting my new webcam. I can now stream much more reliably to Twitch. My win for this past week was getting my second COVID shot, knowing that I've helped do my part in that regard. Thank you for the live streams, the podcast, your awesomeness and your kindness. You spread to the world. Your friend from South Africa, Emil." What a comment. I like the long comments, guys. That one was fantastic. What I really loved about this is that you had a passion for something. And even though it dwindled, I got a message yesterday. I'm not going to reveal the person's name, but it's someone in my community. And this kind of reminds me of that. He had a passion for this certain thing, which I won't say what it is, to just keep it completely anonymous. And he was making YouTube videos about it, and he was enjoying it. They weren't doing amazingly well, but people from that particular community, it's not the Lego one, I'll say that, they were a little critical of him and left him some hurtful comments. He started looking at the numbers, as we tend to do. That always gets us upset. And he kind of decided not to do that thing anymore that he really loved doing, like following this particular passion of his. He gave up on it. And now he's kind of lost and like wants to do something. And he asked me my advice, and I said, well, do you still love that particular thing? And he said, no, the community kind of ruined it for me, but I still want to make videos. And I asked him what his other interests are, and he just try to encourage him to do something that he's interested in. Don't look at the numbers. I said, just upload something and walk away. Don't look at the comments. Don't look at anything. Don't look at the numbers. Just keep making your thing. Because that can be discouraging. It can be really discouraging when you don't feel like something goes as well as it should, or you put an incredible amount of time into something and it doesn't pan out the way that you wanted it to. But if you just stay consistent, and man, I just watched a YouTube video before I came down here today, and the guy was talking about YouTube and in his advice for people. And the word that he used? He used two words: consistency and luck. Luck is something you don't have much control over. But if you're consistent and you keep making that thing or doing that thing, your odds of being lucky increase. So you do have some control over that. But Emil kind of reminded me of that story. And I like that Emil is kind of on the other end of that now, because he has gone back into that thing that he's loved. And he's now doing it. And he's working towards this thing. And he's overcoming his fears of being on camera. And he's doing it. He's freaking doing it. And if you're listening to this and you're not doing it, whatever that it is for you, now's your chance. This is your week. It's your time to shine. Brickitect is on your side. And if there's anything that I can do to help you, throw it out at me, man. I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm literally a guy who in his basement at 6 o'clock in the morning is making a podcast that a few people in the world are going to listen to. But if that's something that I can help you with, I'd be happy to do that. Or if you want to put it out publicly, we can make it a part of next week's show, because it could help somebody else out there. And I hope that of all the people that are listening to this, there's one person right now that's like, I'm going to do it this week. And you do it. So thank you, Emil, for that motivation. For even for me, like, I feel inspired by your thing, dude. Remember, you don't have to be Christopher Nolan. You don't have to be the Christopher Nolan of whatever the thing is that you want to do. You can just be the you of you. How about that? Just be the you of you. I like that. Be you. I should just make a shirt that says be you. Uh-oh. We've got a special guest entering. Is that a Roxy Bear? Followed by a Clark man? Hey, buddy boy. A little bit different scene today, Bubs. I'm doing a podcast right now.
Ooh.
Do you want to be a guest on my podcast for a moment?
Yeah, why a moment?
Or however long you want. I'm reading listener feedback. Let's talk about...
I like chilling here with my dad.
Oh my gosh.
First, I need a hug.
Okay.
And a kiss.
Oh my goodness. How was your sleep, my guy? You feeling better?
Good.
I told everyone about how you were sick this week.
Yep, but I'm pretty good this morning, though.
I like that. Hey, what do you think about people following their dreams? What do you think about that? Somebody that loves to do something. What do you think they should do? Should they do that?
Yeah.
What advice would you give somebody that's really wanting to do something? Like say there was a guy that really wanted to make movies and his name was Emil. What advice would you have for Emil?
What meal?
His name's Emil. He's not a meal. You can't eat him. Jeez. What would you... Let's just say his name was Clark. And, okay, we'll switch this. His name was Clark, and he really loved Minecraft. What advice would you give him to do that, like, really well?
Play Minecraft.
So, like, practice? What if he was streaming Minecraft and people said, like, mean things to him? Well, how would you react to that?
Angry.
You'd be angry? Would you quit?
No.
You wouldn't quit?
No.
Keep going?
Yeah.
Do you mind if I finish the rest of Missing Pieces, the listener feedback version here? Maybe you can offer some advice or some encouragement to these peeps too. So we just listened to Emil, who isn't a meal, but he's Emil. Next one is from Bricksequel, who also has some goals here. He says, I love today's episode. Last week I wasn't able to comment my goals, so here they are. I would like to get a 4-pack, maybe a 6-pack. The only 6-packs that I get are sodas. You know what a 6-pack is? Like ribs or abs shredded?
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to get a 6-pack.
Batman, you need to get the 50.
Batman?
Yeah.
Batman has some shredded ribs, or some, why do I keep saying ribs? Abs. I'm already in great condition, but that would still be a huge milestone to me. My next and final goal is to have more space for the one thing I truly love, besides my girlfriend, Lego. I love that last part. That was really cute. I'd like to have more space for the thing I love, besides my girlfriend. Well, that's always a struggle, guys. Two things Lego collectors struggle with: money, space. Always going to be a problem, unless you have a lot of one of those, which is money, and then space doesn't become a problem.
I think I know Dad's favorite meat.
What?
Ribs.
Oh, ribs are delicious. You guys ever have just some delicious barbecue ribs just falling right off the bone? Goodness. Is it time for breakfast? Let's go on to the next one. This is from Lego Dude 11. Thank you for the feedback, Bricksequel, and good luck on getting shredded. I hope you did 1 million sit-ups during this episode. That'll get you there. Lego Dude 11 says, "Hey Greg, this is more of a..." we already answered your question. Do I talk to myself out loud, Clark Man?
Yes.
Do I? Oh goodness, I thought I didn't. Okay, let's go to Tommy M. He's got a long one here, boys. You ready for a long comment? Tommy says, "Missing Pieces inspired me to create my own type of audio journal. At the end of each day, I write down a good thing that happened, a bad thing, and something else. I've been watching from at least episode 50. Tomorrow I'm going to try to wake up for 5 a.m. Lego." Were you there, Tommy? It says, "Greg's advice is the best I've ever heard." Wow, I don't know if I'd go that far. Yeah, maybe if you've only heard my advice. This isn't me. He says, "There's no one else that makes me feel like everybody is special and that I can achieve something great." I would like to take credit for that, at the very least. That's an honor there. I'd like to make you feel special in some way and encourage you. I like how each Missing Pieces episode can bring something new, and it's a great thing to put in the background while I'm playing some Minecraft. Ooh, you just won Clark Man over. Win of the week. Watching some old movies like Dr. No and Back to the Future. I love when Greg says Lego's not the destination, it's the vehicle. It's just how I feel, and I also feel the same way about school. In school, I get to see my friends and talk to people. Even though the point of school is to be learning, just like the point of Lego is to build something, we can all come together and talk about Lego. The same thing can be said about school. There's something I've learned from Missing Pieces, and that there's always something to be happy about. Wow, I'd like that to be the takeaway. I hope this podcast continues for as long as it can. It's the positive light in a world of negativity and depression. Sometimes when I have the decision to make, I think about what would Greg say about it? What would Greg do? Oh my goodness. I always feel the same way about the new school year starting. Is during summer I got to stay home and have fun with Lego and an open day to do anything I want to. But now the new chapter is starting for me and I have to go to school and work on a schedule. I love the idea of being the Dollar General guy and having the best time you possibly can, even though you may not be in the best situation. The Dollar General guy might become our new mascot of Missing Pieces. It's a whole mood. It's a vibe. Regarding this week's title, "Don't Just Exist," during our English class this week, our teacher pointed out a poster to us in her room that said a student made a few years ago. The poster read, "Zombification, the act of existing and not living life fully." You're welcome for the long comment. Have a glorious week. Well, thank you for the long comment. Thank you for the kind words. That was the fill my heart up comment of the week from Tommy M. It's an honor, man. Thank you for the kind words and the encouragement to keep doing this, man. They're going to keep going.
Maybe you should put the TV remote down.
Yeah, it might be.
Guys, he said Minecraft, so I grabbed the remote. I'm like, yeah.
Are we done here?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to the next one. This one, we got some wins of the week here. What's your win of the week, Clark, man?
My win of the week is...
You think about it, okay? There's people that are like listening to this, and they got places to be. You think about the win of the week while I read Padawans, okay? He says, "Win of the week. I have a pear tree in our backyard, and we just had too many pears. So my mom thought it would be a good idea if I sold them. So I picked the pears, and I made over $150 selling them. I plan on taking the money and putting it into my YouTube channel. I also plan on saving the money for Christmas gifts for my family." You're welcome for the long comment. Wow, lots of... You're welcome for the long comments
I
here.
figured out what it was.
What's your win of the week?
Playing Minecraft twice. Because I was off.
Yeah.
School.
My win of the week was learning Studio, I think.
Oh, Studio.
I was telling him how much we like it. I told him about your creeper van, your creeper bus.
Oh, yeah. It was my creeper van. But there was something you had to do to what that brick was. It was way on that van. You had to turn it clear.
Oh, okay.
For a little windshield.
Okay. There you go. Clark's win of the week. Playing Minecraft. And my win of the week, Studio.
Studio 2.
Yours is Studio 2? Okay, he's stealing my one of the week, guys. Next one comes from Lego Boy 0123. He just went right across the keyboard. He says, epic episode, Greg. Yesterday, Saturday, something insane happened. You want to know what happened, Clark, man?
What?
He was watching DC Fandom and seeing all the new movies. I shared a Batgirl picture, and lo and behold, the directors of that movie saw my Instagram story. My mind was blown. That's my win of the week, that the directors I look up to saw my story. It's an interesting, funny story, how something small can change your day. Very much so. That's pretty darn cool. You're like basically famous now. Next win of the week comes from Cyber Productions, Clarkman. He says his win was that he was able to pre-order the Halo Infinite Series 2 controller from GameStop. It's a pretty cool win. They're pretty expensive. I tried getting one, and I could not get it. He also, he also got a dress suit for his sister's wedding, and he's getting it tailored to fit better. Hopefully, the last time I go in will be the last time, and everything still fits good after it's tailored. Don't put on any extra weight. Pretty cool, though, eh? We got one last win of the week. One more. Clark's hyped. This is from C&D Builds, who reached out to me on Instagram, and I checked out their vidges. He says, wins of the week, Daviana and I, Carter, got a bunch of videos completed. I have 7 videos shot and edited, ready to go. We also currently have a list of about 30 video ideas, which we know is a lot, but just excited to start our future career. Yes, we call it a career because we can and we will make it happen. We can and we will. I like that. You and many others are living proof that it can be a child at heart, live our dreams, and help others along the way. P.S. Great podcast as always. I always listen while working or driving. That's what I recommend. I recommend you guys do something productive. I guess I should say that at the beginning of the episode and not at the very end. Go do something awesome while you're listening to this, because you could be like getting stuff cleaned up. That's always something I need to do. Sorting.
When you're doing this, Dad, I thought you were doing missing pieces. I'm like, what?
It is Missing Pieces.
Really?
This is my podcast. It's going out tomorrow. You're going to be in Missing Pieces. You're going to be out in podcast land.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know you were doing missing pieces.
Yeah.
I thought you were doing 5 a.m. Lego.
No, there's no one here. It's just me and you.
Oh, why are you doing 5 a.m. Lego?
Well, that moment is past. It's now 7 a.m. Lego. Hey, do you have any advice for C&D as a professional Lego YouTuber? They're looking to make a career out of making Lego videos. Do you have any advice for them? From one of the most famous Lego YouTubers in the world to C&D.
I'm not really famous. I don't even have a YouTube channel yet.
You are famous.
How?
You're one of the most loved Lego YouTubers.
How?
Because you're Clarkman. You are the Clarkman. There is no other Clarkman. You're a legend.
Yes, there is.
Who?
Superman.
Oh. Well, he's only Clark Kent. He has to become Superman. You're Superman in a Clark body. And I think that's pretty darn cool. So do you have any advice? Like, what would you say to them if they're making videos? What advice would you give them as a professional?
Build big towers. I love my towers.
All right, guys. All you need to do if you want to make it in the world of YouTube, first of all, be consistent and build big towers. It's all you need to do to achieve all your goals, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Missing Pieces with a bonus guest interview with Clarkman, offering the advice that everyone needs in their life. I want to thank you all for tuning in. All the people who left feedback. It fills my heart with joy, obviously. I love the long comments especially because they're just so good. And I love the no longer apologizing, but welcoming me for the long comment to share. This is a blast, and I plan to keep doing it. So if it's something you enjoy, come back next Sunday for another episode, 103 of Missing Pieces, where we will discuss our life, Lego, and anything else that's on our mind. Oh, also we'll find you in the next Missing Pieces.
He says bye too. Bye.
Bye, guys.